Okay. Ms. Beck says we can start.
Let's do it.
We'll start with a pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to the February 29, 2024 leap year edition of the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook, serve as the chair this year. Joining me today is Commissioner Aaron Mays, Commissioner Bill Rippon. We're also joined by our clerk, Ms. Cindy Beck, and County Councilor Rich Eckert. Ms. Beck, leap us off to a start.
All righty. Yeah, February 29th. That's pretty cool. I wrote something out this morning. I wrote February 28th and went, that's not right. So, okay. First item on the consent agenda, item 3.
Are there any questions or is there a motion?
I'll move we approve the consent agenda. I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
This morning, we have vouchers totaling $1,969,404.87. I got 2 items to point out on there. Under District Attorney, we've got $92,150.60 to CBD Group for office furniture, not CBD. Under Equipment Fund and Public Works, we've got $95,204.68 to Foley Industries. That is for the Caterpillar mini excavator and the parts for it. So I don't have any questions about any of this, and I would move for approval.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed. Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed. Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B, facilities management. Number 1, consider the request to use 2024 contingency funds in the amount of $19,932 to replace the northwest emergency exit door at the courthouse and contract C80-2024 with DH Pace Overhead Door Company for the same.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nelda Henning, Director of Facilities Management. As read by the clerk, I'm asking for permission to use contingency funds to replace the northwest exit door out of the first floor of the courthouse into the northwest parking lot. This is going to become a broken record, I think, this year. We're requesting this because the door has gotten to the point where it's kind of, life is over for it. We can't get parts to repair it. We've had issues with alarm system and it coordinating with the current fire alarm system and just security system. So it's time to be replaced. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Nelda on this item? Bill?
We need to keep this door, though, as for an emergency exit.
Yes, yes.
Now, as part of this replacement, is that going to be coordinated with the construction that we've got going on within the courthouse?
No, it'll be separate from that. The only coordination that will occur is getting it to the fire alarm system because we are updating the fire alarm system and the emergency egress out of the building. That will be part of this, but it's an added expense to the project as it is.
Now, as part of this, are we replacing windows too and changing the outlook of that hallway?
Yes, we will be replacing the windows with solid panels. Here again for security reasons. By making it more opaque, people won't be trying to leave the building. Plus, with the new system onto the fire alarm system, the panic won't work unless the fire alarm is going off. So people can't really just exit out the door unless there is an emergency.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah. Do we ever anticipate this door being used by the public? Or?
No.
Okay.
No, as it is right now, security has requested that only the front door and the employee entrances be accessible by the public. I'll be probably coming back when we do our budgets to replace the actual west door of first floor in the same manner because of security reasons to restrict entrance and exit into and out of the building.
Okay. Any other questions? Is there a motion?
I'll move for approval.
Motion made by Commissioner Mays,
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item C, Stormont Valley Event Center. Number 1, consider the request to issue an RFP for the replacement of the air handling equipment at Heritage Hall.
Good morning, Commissioners. Matt Rockers, Stormont Vale Event Center. As part of the 2023 budget process, we were allocated $300,000 in capital outlay funds for the repair and upgrades to Heritage Hall. So we'd like to start by issuing an RFP for new HVAC equipment, which is in dire need of replacement. One unit actually is down and cannot, there's no parts available to repair it anymore, so this is more of a must-have situation.
Questions?
Matt, do you know approximately what's the square footage of Heritage Hall? Because 300,000 seems like an awful lot, 'cause it's not that big of a space.
300,000 is not for just the HVAC. That was for a total.
Is this for the windows and everything?
Yeah, that
also?
was for,
Okay.
300,000 was rehab for the entire facility.
Okay.
The RFP that I'm asking for today is just for the HVAC portion of that project. We expect it to be around $120,000.
Okay. Still seems like a lot, but.
It is, it is. But
Other questions? This is to go out to get proposals and see what the pricing comes back at.
correct.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item C2, consider approval of request to replace 3 variable frequency drives for the chilled water plant with work to be done by CSM with a low bid of $13,171.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Matt Rocker, Stormont Vale Event Center. We have 5 of these chilled water pumps that operate our facility, Landon Arena and Exhibition Hall, 2 of which were replaced about 7 or 8 years ago. We have a remaining 3, one of which failed right before the cold weather snap that we had back in January. Luckily, we were able to wire around that to get the pump to continue to move water through our chiller barrel so it didn't freeze up. We would like to replace all 3 because the remaining 3 are 21 years old and they have a life expectancy of around 12 to 15 years. So we have well exceeded the lifespan of these remaining 3 variable freak drives.
Questions?
I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Mays, seconds by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item D, solid waste. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C82-2024 with the Lake Region Solid Waste Authority. Funding for the annual dues will come from the solid waste operational budget, which is user fee funded with no tax dollars used.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Shawnee County Solid Waste. Back in December, we had a presentation during a work session by Shay Handysack about joining the Lake Region Solid Waste Authority. That authority is a 6-member county down south of us that formed an authority to manage their solid waste plan and for recycling strategies. They invited us to join the authority, and this is just finalizing that agreement. The annual dues will come from the Shawnee County Solid Waste operational budget. This year, it was $5,000 a piece per county, so that should go down by us joining it. And again, that's 100% user fee funded with no tax dollars used. Questions, gentlemen?
Questions? I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you, Bill.
gentlemen.
Our next item.
Item E, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider approval of request to award bid and approve Parks and Recreation to negotiate a contract with Schwerk Design Group for the design of the Grange Hall at Old Prairie Town.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Lorette, Director of Parks and Recreation Department. Today, I'm here to ask permission to enter into an agreement with Schwerk Design Group to do the design phase of the Grange Hall project. As you know, we've been working on this project for quite some time. As I prepared to present today, I went through a lot of information. We've done a public engagement way back in 2016 about the addition of this facility. included the neighborhood, our advisory board, our Parks for All Foundation, the Friends of Ward Mead obviously took part. We created a business plan back in 2022, which will probably need to be updated. And there's been a couple of different renderings produced of this facility in the past. We did we had 6 firms submit for the project. We conducted interviews with several key staff members, representatives from Ward Mead, the Friends of Ward Mead. We ran those interviews back through the Professional Selection Services Committee, and we would like to ask permission to move forward with Short Design Group to do the design phase of the project. I have Greg Schwert and Sherry Harder here with Short Design Group, and we would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions regarding this?
What would the timeline look like on a design for this project?
You know, like I mentioned, there's been some previous designs done, so I think we're not starting from scratch. I think there's been a lot of input that's brought into it. I would anticipate, and Greg may be able to answer this better, but I would think this would go fairly quickly. I think we need to decide, my feeling is that we need to decide the scope of the project. What kind of building are we going to construct? Is it going to be 2 stories? Is it 1 story? Is it going to need an elevator? Is it going to have a basement? All of those types of things I think are going to play a major role in ultimately the cost and the operation of the building that we construct. So that probably would take the longest time is trying to decide exactly what we want to build. But the actual work of designing it, I imagine, would go rather quickly.
Tim, on the memorandum, it says that the price and source of funding are to be determined. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, we you know, the thought going into this is that, moving forward, we would probably ask that some of the bond money be used to construct this building. But we haven't made that request, and that hasn't been approved by this board. So the idea is we need to go through the design phase and find out exactly what those costs will be. There's going to be some cost, obviously, for the design, and there's going to be an estimated cost for the facility. And before we can come up here and ask for those funds, we need to enter into an agreement phase with Short Design Group to decide, A, what's their cost going to be, and B, what's the scope of the project.
So at this time, you're identifying Schwert Design as the architect for the project, and then you're going to come back to us and identify where you're going to pay Mr. Schwert from?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Commissioner Mays?
Tim, I've told you before, but I'll say to everybody else that this is at the very bottom of my priority list. This project, I mean, I'll support the selection of the design because I think we do probably need to find out how much it's going to cost, but I still question the necessity of this project. And so I'll vote yes today, but I'm not sure if I can support
Sure.
the project.
Sure.
But, on its own.
I understand, and I think as we move through this process, and, I'll touch on it briefly today, but I think we'll have time to elaborate more on what the building would be used for. I think it would provide a nice space in Old Prairie Town to do a lot of events that we can't or don't do now. Quilt shows, arts and craft shows, music events. A lot of these events, I believe, would be themed to fit the Old Prairie Town vibe, so to speak. We can do those things now, weather permitting, outside, but I think this would really, and we have this sort of outlined in our business plan, would really create a space where we could generate, I think, a good amount of revenue. And probably more importantly, from our perspective, a lot of excitement and a lot of new types of activities and programs at Old Prairie Town. I know a lot of the discussion has been centered around a place to have wedding receptions. I think that's true. We do have weddings at Old Prairie Town, and this would provide a larger space to have a wedding reception, but I don't think that's the sole reason that we're doing this. I think it would be really a nice asset from a programming standpoint if we move forward. And we can get into more details on that later.
Rippon?
I guess I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum of Commissioner Mays. This is a high priority for me. And I've been involved with Ward Mead, Parks and Rec for many years. And, you know, like, we have a lot of weddings out there, no receptions. And a lot of events that we do out there are weather-driven. And this would provide us a nice indoor space where we could put a decent amount of people in there.
Right.
And also, we have the Friends of Ward Mead who have already obligated $500,000 to this project. I don't see any other project out there anywhere in the county where somebody else is wanting to give that kind of funding from the public. And I think that speaks volumes. We haven't done a major project of any size 20 years. I think we brought the church in. It was around 2000. So I think it's overdue. I think its time has come. So anyway.
I'm going to play right in the middle and say, we need to know what it's going to cost. So, I see that there could be a need for it at Old Prairie Town, but at the same time, I think we need to look at what the cost is and what we are going to be able to design. Construction costs are all over the place in today's economy. Also, what would be fitting for Ward Mead. One of the beauties of Ward Mead is that many of the structures are authentic. They're restoration pieces. And so I have made it known that I have concerns about bringing something in that's prefabricated that doesn't really fit the rest of the Old Prairie Town vibe, so to speak. And I know that there, such as the drugstore, was a reconstruction, but the interior is authentic. But what can we do and how can we make something that would be fitting of Old Prairie Town? So I guess I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the negotiations with Short Design Group today, but moving forward, just identifying what's it going to cost and what are we looking at. So,
I'm a second.
motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item.
Item F, Information Technology. Number 1, consider approval of request to reclassify the Application Developer 3 to a business analyst at an annual salary, including benefits, of no less than $86,017.87.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mark Price, Information Technology. This is a request to reclassify an application developer we have to a business analyst. When I took over my position, this application developer had been vacated through retirement. I took the last couple of years reviewing the processes that that person was handling, which were a lot of it was tax processing and management of our tax system. That has been handed off to some other individuals, and they've been able to take it over and handle it within the scope of their current positions and not require extra time. What I'm wanting to do with this business analyst is use it to backfill empty position and start cross-training on 2 program managers that right now don't have a whole lot of backup. They're both 20-year plus tenured employees. While I don't see them retiring anytime soon, it is a continuous concern of if they were to leave, having somebody to do their job. So I want this position to go in, learn what they have, learn the systems they support, and be able to support our departments.
Questions?
None.
Is there a motion?
I'll move for approval. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you. Our next item.
Item 5, Public Comment.
This is an opportunity for any member of the public to address the commission.
Couldn't resist. Hey, Greg, you better definitely make it. Good morning. Henry McClure, Topeka, Kansas, Shawnee County. The idea of saying it's a city problem when we're in the county, we just recently sent you guys a note from Sterling Scott, who's trying to bring back the boulevard. And apparently the city of Topeka is trying to make him pay for it all. And it really comes down to, really when I'm addressing you guys, I'm addressing Jetto. You're 3 votes. All we got to do is grab one reasonable guy on the other side to get maybe some help. I don't really know how an individual that makes requests for deals that are going to create economic development that never gets it. 0. I don't care how nice I ask. I don't care how mean you ask. None of my deals ever qualify. I'm wondering right now, I want a list of the $645,000 that they doled out in grants. I don't see that in the interlocal agreement, that your contractor, Go Topeka, is gonna dole out grants. That's not economic development. That wasn't their job. And it just so happens the traffic light the city wants me and another developer to put in is $675,000. But when you have, so I know that Go Topeka spends basically $3.5 million on overhead. It's in their financial report. I'd love to have the details of the financial report. They're your contractor. I guess I should be able to make an open records request to have your contractor give more detail. So I know it. And now I'm pretty sure you guys know it because you approved those. But 67% of the economic development going to overhead is not responsible. So you know it now, if you haven't known it, and I know it, and maybe they know it. When are we going to change it? What is it going to take to change the way we do projects? I had a hotel completely vacant, ready to be torn down to make it shovel-ready. Well, that didn't qualify. I had a Pizza Hut that just needed a sewer line. Now, that Pizza Hut deal, which is still not approved through the city, it was going to produce in sales tax and property tax about $49,000 a year. That's good money. And to get a brand new Pizza Hut. But nope, that didn't qualify either. I want to know what it takes to qualify. How do you make a deal with you guys? And you guys are 3 votes. It's a shame. It's a shame the 2 planning departments make me they want me to pave a road onto a dirt road. The government doesn't even have, the government's requiring me to live at higher standards than they're willing to. And I can't even say, well, I'll pave that road when you pave your road. But I don't even have an elected official to come complain to because it's in the 3-mile radius. We've got to kick the city out of the 3-mile radius. It's just not fair. I don't have anybody, they're off buying hotels and worrying about me paving a road. There's a real problem with the interaction between the 2 governments. You tell me in how in the heck this ever happened. So a guy breaks a pond, the city puts GO bonds to fix the pond, then specials are put on properties over here that haven't paid taxes. How can that be prudent? How can you put specials on properties that haven't paid taxes in years? How can that even be legal? And I want to get to the bottom of this. It's not fair. The inequity of a guy not paying taxes, we're subsidizing a little lake out there that's just the common taxpayer. So those guys can live on a lake. It's not fair. It's not fair to take $3.5 million in overhead when we could actually be doing some economic development that will live up to the interlocal agreement. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Administrative communications. Any member of the commission or body want to address the commission?
Good morning, Commissioners. Angela Lewis, Director of Administrative Services. On April 10th and October 3rd, from 8 to 5 at Evergy Plaza, our mobile mammography unit will be back on site. Due to the construction at the courthouse and City Hall will be at Evergy Plaza this year. Also, just want to remind everyone that Parks and Rec positions are open now. I think Stephanie's putting something up on that, but please go out and apply. We have plenty of positions opened. You can apply at https://jobs.sncO.apps@us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Shawnee County Solid Waste. This Saturday will be March 2nd, so will be our Saturday collection event out there at the HHW. So weather's looking great, so come on out. Bring out your unused household hazardous waste. They're open from 9 until noon. Location is 131 Northeast 46th Street. Phone number is 286-4381. Thank you.
Morning, Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. For me, kind of dreaded this day, but I knew it was coming. After 34 years, Eve has decided to turn in her cuffs, to put down the pen, and decides to retire. For most of you, if you don't know, I've been with Eve longer than I've been with my own wife. Professionally. And if this is being recorded, my wife knows that too. We've seen a lot. We've seen a lot of change for the better in the Shawnee County Department of Corrections when there was a time that, quite frankly, you didn't want to read the paper about us. We've gone from, really being, I always believe we have been a professional organization, but now we kind of set the benchmark in the region. We have a juvenile detention center that ranks in the top 2 to 3% in the nation. We have national accreditation standards. All of that takes time for anybody that goes through accreditations. When you have 400 standards and you have to meet 35%, 100% of those, or you don't get it. But the constant auditing and things like that goes on, the training of staff, just basically the overall obligation to have a statutorily appropriate facility is very tough, and I'm just going to say it's very expensive. But I have had a partner in crime, so to speak, for 34 years. We have worked together as officers. We've come up together through the supervisory rank. Eve style complements mine tremendously, meaning Eve always didn't agree with the things that I wanted to do in a good way. Eve just is her work ethic is unmatched. Her attention to detail, it is just tremendous. And yes, we can hire somebody, but I can't fill Eve's shoes, and I can promise you that. Eve, I love you. I'm going to miss you. This county is going to miss you. And Eve sits on a lot of boards and continues to do so, and I hope she continues to do so. She's worked on elections for many years and has done a lot. And Eve has, any success that you see at the Department of Corrections isn't because of me. I'm the one that gets to stand up here, but it goes to those who work in the trenches. And Eve's been in those trenches for a long time. Again, I'm going to miss Eve. Eve, this is Eve's last working day. with Shawnee County. He's one of us old timers where no parties, no things like that. It'll be me, just like me. I take my box and I'll wave and hope that I've made a change and made a difference. Eve, you made a difference. And I'm going to miss you more than you'll ever know. And this department's going to miss you. So I just ask everybody to welcome and join me in congratulating Eve. She earns it.
Eve Kendall, Department of Corrections, for the last time. 34 years. That's probably more than some of you have been alive, I hate to say. It's always been kind of fun for me to tell our new employees, because we meet all of our new employees first day that they come to work, our team, that I was working here before cell phones. And, you know, they're like, you know, they give you that look, because they don't even know what you're talking about, you know, but 34 years. And then, you know, I was reflecting back, Brian and I have been reflecting back for about a year, because I told him a year ago I was retiring. But half of that, I've been a deputy director, and that amazes me too. Because when I first started working here, I didn't plan on being here 34 years. I planned on, you know, stepping stones, as we call it, tell people that I was going to get my foot in the door and go into bigger and greater things. But if you spend any time with Shawnee County and with the Department of Corrections, you learn that the county, working for the county, can be a bigger and better thing. And I hope people realize that. But working for the county, you're not going to be get-rich-quick schemes or anything like that. But if you work for the county, it's the long game. It's not the short game. It's the long game. And I always tell people, they've been asking me, well, you're too, you know, how can you retire so young? And all this kind of, one, I'm not that young, but thank you for that. But, you know, if you take advantage of the county benefits, you know, the retirement planning and the other, you know, various things, the county will take care of you. The county is a family. And I feel like this has been my family for the last 34 years. A lot of life has happened in the last 34 years. And Brian has been with me the whole time. Like he says I've been with him, but he's been with me through a lot of different things, through deployment and families' ups and downs and all kinds of things. And I can't ever say thank you enough for that. And as I try not to get emotional, I want to thank the rest of this team here. The first half of my employment, I had my little family over there at the Department of Corrections, but the last half I've had all of you, and I've learned a lot from all of you. You know, I've learned that, you know, being quirky is not always a bad thing. When you look at Mr. Bridgeman, you know, and to have the answers before you go up in front of you from Mr. Cook. You know, I've learned to detail from audit finance and from, you know, from the human, from Angela, sorry. I'm losing it all now because it's just a big swirl, even though it's been 34 years. 34 years. Anyway, thank you all. I've enjoyed it, most of it. I'm not going to lie. I've had some bad days, like we all have. But the county is a good place to work, and I wish people would realize how great it can be here as long as you're willing to work with each other, collaborate. I've learned so much from these department heads. They are the unsung heroes. Brian says that, you know, that I'm the unsung hero, and I've always loved being in the shadow more than I've been in the spotlight. But there's so much wealth of knowledge in this room from these department heads, and sometimes I don't think people realize how much you guys provide and, you know, the support that you give each other when we're not having good days. But thank you all. You've meant a lot to me. As I travel, I don't plan on working because I've enjoyed the benefits of Shawnee County. As I travel, I will bring you with me and all the little things that I've learned along the way, and I hope you all success. Thank you.
That's going to be hard to top, Kellen.
Kellen Seitz, Storm Vale Event Center. Brian did give me the opportunity to go before him. I wish I would have taken him up on that. But in all seriousness, congratulations, Eve. We've got a really fun weekend ahead of us this weekend with the Demolition Derby. So Eve, if you're around, you're welcome to some cold beers and some smash 'em up car action. It's been a busy 3 weeks for us, and we've got another couple busy weeks ahead of us. So we finished up circus, a whole bunch of trade shows, 3 shows running concurrently last weekend, Demolition Derby and some other content happening this weekend. And then next weekend we follow that up with Kansas Kids Wrestling. So our team's a little tired. We're looking forward to spring break and getting a week off. But yeah, come out and join us. Sales are trending up, so we're running short on some of those tickets for the Demolition Derby this weekend. And be patient with us in emergency management. I will replace any cones that are misplaced from the parking lot. So thank you.
Good morning, Jake Henry, Shawnee County Emergency Management. I just wanted to remind everybody that next week is Severe Weather Preparedness Week. So we have a few events to keep in mind. Monday evening at 7 p.m. at Washburn University at the Memorial Union, we're having a storm spotter class. And then Wednesday is the statewide tornado drill that will take place at 11 a.m. So just some things for everybody to be aware of.
Okay.
Jake, we're still under a red flag warning? We are, yeah. Thank you. Yep, fire weather is a big thing right now as well.
All right. Thank you, Jake. Thank you. Any other administrative communications? Commissioner Rippon?
No other than I'd just like to thank Eve for all of her time, her years, her professionalism, and putting up with Brian. And who's going to watch him now?
We have multiple counselors on it.
But above all, I'd like to thank you for your commitment to the Department of Corrections and the difference you made. So thank you very much.
Yeah, congratulations. Thank you for your years of service. I'll never forget when that pipe burst at the juvenile detention center. Was it the juvenile or the annex? Yeah. Anyways, I know that was, you spent several months dealing with the fallout from that, and I'm glad you were there to do it. So, among other things. So, nothing else from me. Happy leap year, if that's a thing.
I too would like to thank Eve. I mean, 34 years. We commissioners do an employee orientation regularly for new hires. And one of the things that we talk about is the difference between private and public. In private business, it's about making a buck. It's about how can I help my company grow. In public service, it's about the public. How do I serve the public and how do I make the public grow? And so those are two things that are often at odds with each other. But our employees that come to work for Shawnee County, one of the amazing things I always see is our employees stay for so long, 10, 15, 20, 30, 34 years. And that stands as a tribute to the county, public service, and Eve could have easily gone into private long ago and probably made more money than she does as a county employee. But it's her dedication to the public and helping people in crisis. When somebody's coming to the Shawnee County Department of Corrections, they're not there on their best day. But being professional, treating people with respect, that's what we expect from everybody, and I know that Eve does that on a daily basis. Also, Eve is also an election worker. She regularly works the elections and the polls, also with professionalism. Several years ago, I was in a rush to vote, try to get in and out as quickly as possible, as we often do, and my debit card sits right next to my driver's license. And as I got up and I put my debit card down on the counter for her to scan it, she said, "I don't think I need a tip, but I do need your driver's license." So, again, that could have easily turned into an opportunity to embarrass but it was just done very professionally, and I think that is, again, reflective of Eve and her character. So I know that we'll still see more of Eve around, and I don't anticipate she's going to fade off into the sunset, because there's a lot of things that Eve does in our community to make it better. So thank you, Eve, for all that you do. Our next item.
Item 7, executive session.
We do not have a need for an executive session today. We are adjourned.